for to be able to reduce inflammation. A person who's looking for no additives, no preservatives or chemicals. That's kind of the.
So a little bit more. How old, roughly, do you think they are? They go to the gym every day already? Are they fairly overweight? Are they, you know, do they live in Minnesota or California? You know, a little bit, but imagine, like, even asking those questions, right? You start to get a little bit of a visual in your mind of how to talk to that person, because I can tell you right now, people are probably way more prone to paleo in California than they are in Minnesota. It's just nature of the beast. Does anyone else want to take? Let's just do that particular. Someone else give me their story of the person in paleo. Yeah.
I was thinking, so the person I had in mind was actually one of my professors from college.
Okay.
Her name was Sarah, and she's really smart, really chipper, slightly overweight. And I was thinking that she'd be a good fit because I feel like the paleo diet, it's not that restrictive, so you can kind of like maintain a regular schedule, kind of do what you're doing before. So I think she'd be a good fit for that.
Okay. So what about, why her? Why did she come across to you first as someone who would be interested in the paleo diet?
I think it was because like the paleo diet didn't really strike me as a diet that people are using for like heavy weight loss because I mean you're still eating a lot of normal foods. So I mean she's like slightly overweight, like really wasn't a big deal, but it's something that she could do to improve her health while also like maintaining the same eating schedule she already has.
Got it. Okay. All right. We'll come back and we'll do some more building on it. Do you want to go next?
Sure. My guy, he's 40 years old. He's a single father with 3 kids, and he has a full-time job in accounts receivable. He has health issues. He's a little overweight. He's been experimenting with different diets to help alleviate his symptoms. He's busy, and he wants to cook meals that will go over well taste-wise with his family.
See that? Like you got a visual there, right? And all of a sudden it's like he's doing it for health reasons. So that triggered like, oh yeah, like a lot of people. So now all of a sudden when it comes to writing subheadlines and things to capture them and you're busy, the 3 kids and single father shows a franticness of everything probably. So rushed to do everything. Probably can't cook 2 different meals at the same time, right? His kids are going to have to eat whatever he eats. He's going to have to eat whatever the kids eat. So yeah, really, really, like it builds that visual, so I really know who I'm talking to. Did you want to go next?
Yeah. So my person is a 43-year-old career woman who wants to have a healthier lifestyle. And she has been eating processed foods and has an unhealthy diet for most of her life. She isn't overweight, but she hasn't had the best of energy and always feels tired and groggy. She's determined to achieve it.
Awesome. So again, pretty specific, detailed, can easily create a visual. One of the other things that I would consider here, now this is where you come in as a copywriter, is notice when I said, describe someone to me that would be interested in the paleo diet, I was specific about paleo. So one of the things that you would want to consider right off the bat is they probably already know a little bit about weight loss or the products, which you covered. I think you said your guy had tried a few different things and just couldn't figure it out. So that is a very important component of this, because if you were to go after, let's say, I think your professor that you talked about from the past, if I went to your professor and was like, if I was literally like, hey, I really think you should check out the paleo diet, like I think it would be really good for you, she might be like, what do you call me, fat? Like, I didn't think I needed to lose weight. So it's a completely different conversation versus someone who is already looking at different weight loss programs, and then all of a sudden they would hear about paleo. So you got to think about the grade of selling, like where are they mentally. So if I'm going to sell the paleo diet to someone who's all they've said is, I need to lose weight, right? Or they've not even said that. So if I'm going on Facebook, I'm going after people like mass, I'm just going to say, do you want to lose weight? The guy has to first convince someone that they need to lose weight. So then I ask myself, well, the market I'm going after with this ad or this message or this email, are they already convinced of that? Well, yes, they're actively looking for a weight loss program. So great. First part of it, cut. Then I move to the second part, which is like, well, they probably now need to be told which type of weight loss system to use. So now I start right off the bat. Like I'm going to tell them, hey, paleo is the best because blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to sell them on the idea of a paleo diet. Or is my ad going after someone who's already selected paleo? They already are in the paleo. Now they're looking for a recipe book. So now there's no reason to sell them the paleo diet. They've already obviously been convinced, but probably what struggles are they having? You know, they're probably not happy with their food choices. Maybe they want more delicious meals. Maybe they want faster meals. So now I'm going to cut the first one, which is like, hey, you need to lose weight. I'm going to cut that out because it's not necessary. I'm going to cut the, hey, you should do paleo. I'm going to cut that out because obviously they're already convinced of that. Now I'm going to move right into, are you in a rush, short on time, and sick of eating the same thing again and again and want a delicious, list of 52 of the top paleo diet meals? Like, that's obviously not short enough. But do you get where I'm going? Like, you're going to literally nail that person right where their psychology is, right where they're thinking. So that is, when I say build the scenario, the picture, I want, like, the way you ladies did it was perfect. Like, you really sat down and you thought through their issues, what they're thinking, where they're going. You answered all those questions. Those questions that I put out there, they really help in answering in creating that avatar of the person. But what you're going to realize is that once you get the avatar right, then it's so much easier to write the subheadlines and the email subject lines and all of that. All right, so let's move on to the second question, which was, I think, write a subheadline or a headline.
So, let's see. I wrote 3 of them.
Okay.
So we have alternatives. See how this paleo cookbook has created shocking results. Mysterious paleo meals created for Kobe Bryant. And if inflammation is holding you back, this cookbook is for you.
Got it. So of all of that, the second one was pretty interesting. And all 3, what I could suggest would be to add some specificity and numbers. It would take your headline and subheadline to the next level. So the 15 recipes created for, Kobe Bryant. The last one, the inflammation one, that's a great ad. But see, now I'm going to ask, that better be going to someone who's expressed inflammation as a challenge, right? Like if I'm just into paleo diet, I don't know. I actually don't know enough about paleo diet. Maybe it is for an anti-inflammatory diet. Maybe it's an automatic assumption that anyone looking into paleo has inflammation. If that's the case, then okay, we're good. But those headlines are good. Literally just a little bit more specificity, and you're going to be able to bring more visual and more promise, more promise basically to it. So you'll be able to propose a deeper answer to them.
The top one I came up with was you can eat tastier and still eat healthier without breaking the bank.
Okay. So in that one, I would say, so here I'm a person, I'm into paleo, I'm looking for paleo diet, paleo recipe book or whatever. I land on a page that the headline doesn't, it says it's a little bit generic. So it's not that it's not going to work, but it's a little bit generic. So again, the specificity, getting specific. Remember, this is one of the, being able to be specific is one of the gifts of interactive marketing. Because back 20 years ago, you couldn't because you were doing a shotgun method. Now you're doing sniper, which actually makes writing easier, but the more specific you are, the more you're going to nail it, right? So actually, it's funny because with my book, Escape, I actually find sometimes it's a little challenging to sell the book because it's a generic how to be an entrepreneur book. But the next book I'm writing, which is The Birth of Interactive Marketing, I don't know if I'll be able to sell as many units, but man, it'll be freaking easy to sell it. Like I'm going to have a ridiculous conversion rate on the page. Because by the time you get there, you're going to be someone who's interested in copywriting. If you're interested in copywriting, I'm going to be like, hey, you want to learn like this is the formula I've used to sell $200 million worth of products. It's just going to be like, oh yeah, I want that because you'll be nailing. So specificity, again, kind of a recurring theme. Ladies?
Paleo, Colin, and easy diet that will completely transform your health.
Got it. So again, specificity would probably be helpful. But on that one, so I like the headline, but on that one, I'm assuming you're convincing me to use paleo, right? Which might be fine. So if you're talking to a person who's into weight loss, looking for a new way, now you're saying, hey, this is the right way to do it. And literally, if you just made it a little bit more specific, a little bit more either numbers or persons or something that makes it more about something specific, it would be much stronger.
Be healthier and have more energy with these simple, delicious paleo recipes.
Great. So all really good headlines, same exact feedback. A little bit more specific, and you've up-leveled them by 3 levels just by doing that. Email subject lines.
100 quick and easy paleo meals the whole family will enjoy. The secret to melting fat and reducing inflammation using paleo, and 11 secrets to delicious paleo meals.
Got it. So those are really good those are really good headlines, almost all of them. Subject lines only challenge are too long.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I did the 8-word challenge, because in a subject line, remember, you've got just whatever the previews allow. So typically I like to look at on a cell phone how much of the subject line they show you, and because most people are now looking at emails on their cell phone. So I'm literally gonna, if you look at the app, you get that many characters. I'm gonna try to make sure that I get the most intriguing stuff within that character footage. So I'm relentless of testing my emails. So before I send it, I do a test mail to myself, and I see what it looks like on my phone and on my desktop, always. We'll talk about things like visual and auditory and how they relate to copy probably in the coming days, but you'll get to learn. I'm really big about that. So, but I loved how those were more specific. Did you edit them after we kind of spoke, or was that?
The only one that I added was I added 100 before the quick and easy paleo meals, but the other two.
Yeah. So, but nailing that specificity just made it that much more visually appealing. Like in my head, I could oh, there's 11, and you just instantly create that open loop that people want to close. The list methodology works, but just I would condense it for subject lines.
Okay.
Yep.
This might be a little long too, but 10 tasty paleo recipes. It's so easy the cavemen did it.
Yeah, that's probably 2 or 3 subject lines in there. But that, like the caveman angle is cool. Like if you can kind of condense it, and you got, it's kind of going at the funny angle. And then the first one, you had specificity. You created a list. That'll work really well, but just shorter on this one.
20 game-changer paleo recipes to boost your immune system.
Got it. So again, just a little long, but and so we can play with things. We'll work on subject lines. This is not like we didn't even talk about that today. We can play with things like brackets and say immune system, close bracket, 20 paleo recipes, ... And so you didn't the message got across, but it's short, and the person reading it, they connect the dots. They understand what you're trying to do. But good.
50 healthy recipes to increase your energy.
Okay, again, so same feedback. I love it, but essentially what we did here, are you starting to see the difference between a headline and a subject line? They're almost the same, just you got to be able to say one shorter. Simple as that. Sean?
When you're, since you're going after people that already know paleo, when you're describing the product, you have to say what it does, like 20 great paleo recipes. Like, because someone already knows about paleo, you have to say, like, this will make you lose this much weight or whatever, or just like 20 great paleo recipes.
You should as much as you can, because it relates them to it. Because it sets you apart, and you use a word that's familiar and relatable between both parties, right? So, okay, prime example. When I send an email to Learn Nation, every subject line has bracket, Learn Nation, close bracket. All of them, without fail. Why? Because I send other emails too, and that email, that's sacred. I want everyone to know, no, this is a Learn Nation email. This means I know what to expect. I'm calling out on that person. When I send an email to people who bought the Escape book, it always says bracket, escape, close bracket. Because I'm going to call upon a word that means something to you. So if you went through the process of pulling out your credit card and purchasing a book called Escape, and then logging into the online portal, reading a little bit, seeing the reviews, wondering, wow, Damon John wrote the foreword. Wow, Robert Kiyosaki said I should buy it. Or God forbid, you've actually had the book and you've been waiting for it and you've had all that time to think about it. Now all of a sudden the word escape has true meaning for you. So I'm going to use it, deploy it as much as I can to get your attention when applicable. Yep.
So with the subject line and some of your other teachings that you get 3 punctuation marks in the subject line. So you're already using 2 of them for the bracket?
Yeah, so those rules are starting to open up a lot now. They're starting to open up a lot. We don't even have to follow them for our systems anymore because Google went and made a lot of changes. And so what Google has done is eliminated these standard rules or the need for them at all because they apply personalized SEO methodologies to each sender, each email, each person, like each receiver. So if I send out 1 million emails, each one of those people has different rules as to what makes it into the promo box, spam box, or inbox. And what they're doing is, so bottom line is this, all of our emails lately have a 20+% open rate, 20, 25, 30, and we're talking on huge sends. So Google, Yahoo, all these major IS, they love us because they know that that is an amazing open rate. So when they know that, it opens me up. I can put the word free in my email. I can have more punctuation. But still, I can't say the word sale. And every time I say the word sale, it triggers it right to the spam box. But there's a lot of things I can take liberty to do that others can't do. So it all is, in the end, it's very determined by the engagement of your audience. The higher the open rate, the more liberties they give you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So does anyone else have any questions so far? All right, Joe or anyone, did you guys want to, you guys are welcome to participate. You can shout out if you want to give one of your, you haven't, right? Okay, I figured as much. All right, last on this particular one, and then we'll get Jeremy up for a few minutes. So give me 8 words.
4 famous athletes who eat paleo diet, 7 paleo meals, a cut above the rest, or 6 secret paleo recipes for preferred customers.
Freaking all of them would be awesome ads.
Ads.
Facebook ads, content ads. That was what I was going for when I was writing the 8 words. I wanted to see how you would write an ad. Every single one of those would be amazing ads. They have a clickbaity feel to them. They'd make me want to click. They'd make me want to stop and engage and read. So that was really good. Yep.
I kind of went like elevator pitch direction, so mine was like thrive off the diet of caveman.
Okay. All right. So it's open and it's intriguing. In my opinion, it's not specific enough. I think you could get me to stop. I'd be intrigued, but again, yeah, it's not bad. Just a little bit of specificity. If there's like just a little bit in there, that would probably get me to click even more. But I can already see a group of people that would stop at that because it's intriguing.
Double your energy in 2 weeks and lose 30 pounds in 3 weeks.
Got it. So both of those great. As from an advertising perspective, they would be risky in the compliance department. Not sure they would get passed, but you followed the whole, you had the specific, you had a claim, you kept it short, and it was catchy and would make me want to click. Got it. So it's a little bit open-ended. I would definitely get more specific. So some questions I would ask you is, change my life how? Right? More energy. What? Give me a little bit more, better visual. So the best way that you can get someone to stop on an ad is to create almost a visual, right? So your first one that you had said, what was the first one?
4 famous athletes who eat a paleo diet.
Right. So you got the word paleo in there. So if I know paleo and paleo means anything to me, it's going to connect with me right away. 4 famous athletes. It's just yearning to say who, right? And so it's got all the little elements in there to create that curiosity and that desire to basically engage with the ad. So if nothing else, I'm going to stop scrolling. I may not click it just because whatever, not everyone clicks. 98% of people don't click. But when I am scrolling on Facebook ads and I stop, just stop, Facebook registers that. They see that. they know I did that, and they throw positive juju towards that ad. They know that, okay, this ad is getting more people to even stop. And the more people that stop, obviously the probability of them clicking goes straight up too. So then the click rates go up. That sends positive feedback to Facebook. The more positive feedback Facebook gets, the lower they charge us for the ads. So you'll start to see how copy that you write has, remember I told you, you don't just communicate with humans, now you communicate with bots. You're talking to the actual algorithms and systems. So whatever you write is actually influencing the overall huge long tail of the success of that campaign. All right, what I'm going to do now is we're going to get Jeremy to come up, and I'm going to try to stay quiet during this time. So I'll give you just enough background. You guys need to do these exercises for his product that's coming out, but you know nothing about it. So your job as copywriters right now is you got 10 minutes of him up here, grill him about it, ask him the questions that you need to answers to so that you could actually write and do this exercise. And then as soon as Jeremy is done, we'll take about 10 minutes, not much, just 10 minutes where I want you guys to go and alter what you had written for the other ones based on the feedback that we've gotten so far. All right, so Jeremy, if you would just come up. Breakthrough Mastery is a product Jeremy's created. It's, we don't know the exact price yet, but it's going to be in that $500 to $1,000 type of range. It's an intensive program for the personal development world, and we're going to be releasing it here in the next month and a half. We have to do everything. So we have action pages, webinar creation, the actual email workflows, ads, you name it. We have to do all of it. So Jeremy, if you can come on up, and if you guys feel free to start grilling him. By the way, Jeremy is our, I should introduce him, shouldn't I? That would be probably nice. He's our director of sales. So Jeremy helps manage and run all of our sales team. He's been with us for about 2 years. He's an absolute wizard at selling, and also very, very, did he enroll you?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. All right. So yes, he's very good at enrollment, but he's amazing at also coaching and teaching other people on how to do that. And then on another level, he runs all of our Learn Masters workshops, and this guy is powerful in the room. You can just take your mind and just do stuff to it, and it just peak performance through the yin-yang. So he's amazing at all of that. So we wanted to take that, encapsulate that into a program, and put it inside of our platform at Learn. But I need you guys to be able to do this assignment with his product, so go for it. Ask him anything you want.
Yeah, please. Anything. Good to be here with you guys. Yeah, whatever you want to ask.
So what is the goal with writing this book? What do you want to accomplish by writing this book?
So it's not a book. It's a program. Yep. It's an 8-week program. There is potentially a live component to it in the sense that there potentially could be some extra added videos that extend out over the course of 6 to 12 months. But it's primarily 8 weeks intensive online training.
That's exactly what the book's about.
Say it again.
Can you tell us like in detail what the book's about?
It's not a book.
I know. Program.
Apparently you need to write a book, man. We could put it into a book. So it's 8 weeks. The primary focus is, like I was saying, personal development, specifically geared towards entrepreneurs primarily. So something that I like to call entrepreneurial peak performance. It really takes into consideration the science. If you wanted me to explain it in this way, I could say it's really, I've compressed about the last 150 years of the top world-class psychology, neuroscience, positive psychology, entrepreneurial peak performance studies to really compress it into 8 weeks of how to up-level areas in your life that are most relevant to you succeeding as an entrepreneur. So it's not your typical personal development in the sense that we go, there's like woo-woo personal development, then there's kind of like scientific, it's kind of, in the middle, more towards like, here's the science behind how to accelerate your performance and productivity by 50 to 250% in the next year. So it's more that direction.
So what made you create this program, and why should the potential customer care?
So what the inspiration, no, yes?
We kind of need like a room mic so we can hear the questions from the students.
Oh, okay. But you want this on, right?
Yeah, we want that to pass around.
Just repeat the question for now, if you can.
Oh, you want me to pass it around?
No,
Okay.
just repeat the question now. Just repeat
Oh, got it. So what was it? What inspired me to create the course?
Yeah, what made you create the course, and why should the customer care?
Okay. So the inspiration for the course, a lot of it came from what Anik and I really built around masters and what we were seeing from individuals that went through the training and the results that people were getting from the peak performance side of it. And so that was a lot of the inspiration, was results that students were getting. People were accelerating their overall productivity with the business that they had created, no matter the business they were building. And the reason people should care is obviously you're not going to be able to build a serious business if you're not operating like a serious entrepreneur. Meaning, you know, we can help you build systems that operate at $1 million level, but if you are running that business at a $5,000 a month level, it's not going to really work out very well. And so people should care because they are the vehicle for their business. And no funnel is going to make up for a well-operating entrepreneur that has the capacity to be able to scale a business, you know, beyond that one funnel that they created. So that was that's why people should care. That's what the inspiration for it.
What's the difference between Escape? Because Escape talks about the traits that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So what's the difference between that and Breakthrough?
It actually coincides very nicely because Escape would be the traits that are necessary. Breakthrough Academy is how to break through using those traits at the highest level possible. Being able to, and also how it affects other areas of your life. One thing we go into at Breakthrough Academy is we kind of have this wheel of success, something I call 7 personal empires of mastery. And these are personal empires in your life that you must master to be able to create the outer empires of success, entrepreneurship, business, and to be able to optimize those things. So things like your health, things like your personal relationships, things like your your finances, being able to get these 7 personal empires mastered so that you can apply, you can start going through the Escape model and actually getting the most out of it. Yes?
Pause real quick, 1 sec. I just wanted to draw attention to something, guys. Did you notice how, like, everyone asked you 2 or 3 questions, but it took the last question and he got into the details. The 7 this, the personal, and he started to give you keywords, right, that you could really play around. So as copywriters, one of the talents that you're going to really learn to master is asking the right questions. And I always say, as a copywriter, ask follow-up to follow-up to follow-up to follow-up. So if you ask a question, they answer you, ask another one, and then ask another one. Keep diving deep in, because many times the person who you're writing for is going to give you pretty much all the information you need in their spiel. So when I used to write for clients, I never did questionnaire forms or anything. I didn't care for any of that stuff. I used to get on a recorded call and literally just start asking them questions. And I just keep diving one level deeper, one level deeper, one level deeper, one level, and we just end up talking for 30 to 45 minutes, and they just thought it was a conversation. Didn't have any clue, and then by the time they're done, I'm like, I got what I need. And literally, they just be like, what? But how? And I'm like, I got what I need. That's all I need. And so I just wanted to trigger that, and you don't feel like, especially in this situation, don't feel like you're gonna annoy him or anything. Like, go at it. Like, if he said something and it didn't adequately answer it, like, get used to the idea of asking again and again and again.
Yes?
Or deeper. $500 to $1,000 can be a lot of money for someone, especially when they're just starting out and don't have a successful business. Why would I trust you with that money instead of someone else? How do I know what you're giving me will work?
I mean, the process that you're going to go through to be able to get to the invitation of that should speak for itself, right? The results students are getting, the results students are getting, the breakthroughs people are having and articulating. I mean, those would be the biggest things, and we're going to have plenty of those, if that's kind of what you're getting at.
How many people would you say you've trained so far? Sorry.
No,
when you
yeah.
cut you off.
And just all excited. It's just like, taking you down.
800, we'll crush you.
So,
We'll crush you.
I mean,
It was a follow-up on his question.
yeah, just specifically, if we were going to take in master's to account, we have almost 500 master's students now. So, you know, we could kind of, if we want to use that as a barometer,
Yeah.
you know, if we wanted to comprise my full scope of just my personal experience of training people, I mean, it's, like you could say the last, you know, 4 to 5 years of training.
How many people said that it was worth it?
100%.
You even any good?
Joe, you're fired. Get out.
What do you eat for lunch? So let me rephrase Joe's question a little bit. Like what I would have asked is, can you tell me a little bit about the success stories?
Yeah, so the success stories would be people that, you know, if we wanted to speak broadly, you have individuals that take material like this and end up understanding what it takes to be able to turn their annual income into their monthly income, understanding what that actually does for their personal relationships, how it affects their overall energy levels, how increasing energy levels allows them to perform better throughout the day. As an entrepreneur, why is that important? Why is more sleep going to impact your overall bottom line? Why is better relationships in general and the ability to connect with people going to, you know, impact the bottom line? So the success stories are in all of those areas, you know, people that have been able to achieve results in their business as an entrepreneur. If we want to speak to specific results of, you know, specifically master's students, you know, there are people that within 8 weeks of training, you know, have their first $40,000 month. Within 14 months of training, they build a $300,000 a month business. You know, there's those that you can speak to. Yeah, does that help?
Key takeaway you would want someone to come from your program?
Key takeaway or key like result? Or are you distinguishing the two?
One thing that they keep in mind as they're running their business and, you know, they're making decisions
Mm-hmm.
on, you know, how to hire people or what vendors to use, whatever decision they have to make. Would it be the wheel of success? That's the main.
I would definitely say how each facet, how each of those empires impacts each other. So I think one thing that is, you know, within personal development is, okay, let's focus on this area of your life and let's make sure that that is on point and on par. With the wheel, it kind of shows you, number one, which things are maybe not operating at the highest level possible, and then also how are they impacting each other. So what we do in this course, we talk a little bit about the alignment web, which would be kind of taking this wheel and then creating a web from that as to how they impact each other. So how does lower levels of health and energy directly influence your overall finances and your ability to be able to grow wealth? How does your overall health and lack of it impact areas such as the moments you're creating with family and the time that you're able to spend with people? How is that impacting your energy and your stress levels in relation to your business? Right? So we kind of get a clear picture of all of that, and you start realizing, okay, I need to, there's a lot more to me as an entrepreneur than just the business that I'm building. There is these other parts that are necessary for me to focus on. That would be the biggest thing. And really kind of reshaping some of the paradigms that you have around these 7 areas in your life. So, anything else? Yes, Stuart.
So you say, like, personal development is obviously a very competitive market. There's a lot of gurus out there. So what would separate your practice, your course, your education different from the others?
Yep.
Is it formula, diagrams, steps?
It's the formulas, the frameworks to be able to apply, and it's the science and proven systems behind it that once you, it's applicable, right? There is very step-by-step ways to start applying that are proven by science, that show specific results in your energy levels, in your production levels, in your performance levels. This is all related to what is actually drawn out by the science. Yes, you can do gratitude in the morning. Why are you doing gratitude in the morning? What does it actually do for your brain and your the neural pathways in your brain? What is that actually doing when you apply a practice like that? And how do you apply that practice in a way that is proven to get results in your day, as opposed to what a lot of people do is personal development, of course, I need to be grateful. So they just say, I'm grateful for the day in the morning, and then that's it. Well, what practice, specific levels of, let's say, journaling or gratitude are going to be useful and applicable to you getting a specific result that's measurable, that's tangible? That's the biggest thing, is we focus very deeply on applicable, measurable, and scientifically proven methods that just get results. That's the biggest thing.
In terms of scientific proven, like is this data that you kind of put together yourself, or is this like actual test studies of people that you've tried to work with in the past? Like, how did you come up with how is it scientific?
The biggest science is, like I said, the last 150 years of the top neuroscience, positive psychology, the results of different levels of peak performance studies, and yeah, personal anecdotal, if you will, results of our students, for sure. Yep. Dope.
What is your
word?
Dope. What is your relationship with the people who are going to be getting the information? I mean, is it the people that are going to be? I mean, is it going to be going out to your warm people? Is it going to be cold through Facebook advertisement? What are you wanting to accomplish with?
I think it would be going out to everybody. I mean, it would be within LearnNation and advertising as well. So there'd be a big push for new individuals coming into this training, so advertising, as well as students within LearnNation.
Are you targeting people that are already a little familiar with personal development, maybe therapy or some type of mental health, or also just people who have never even gone to the self-help section of the...
A good question. I think I think to be more specific with the targeting, we would focus on people that have some, understanding of personal development in relation in relation to entrepreneurship, right? Because again, there's a spectrum of personal development. It is pretty, wide in that sense. But people who are more on the side of, let's say, high performance. Peak performance and that level of personal development. It's more so, if you want to put it this way, somebody that you guys might be familiar with, it's more so Tony Robbins as opposed to, think of the, Deepak Chopra, right? It's more so on that side of it. And so we would focus on individuals that have that understanding of personal development. How does it impact tangibly my everyday life? How can I apply it in a practical way? Those would be the individuals we'd be targeting.
So, triggered a great question to ask in a situation like this is, what are similar products? Who are similar brands?
Yep.
I don't like the word competitor. In our space, we don't really have competitors. But in the spirit of which it's asked, because that's great. Like he just said that, right? And that could have led to a whole new spew of questions. It's like Tony Robbins, well, which one of Tony Robbins' programs? And then all of a sudden you got all kinds of cool stuff to go research to see how Tony's selling it.
Yep.
Obviously he's very successful. What are the trigger words and things he's using? You don't copy ever, but you can certainly model and learn from it. The other thing as you kind of listen, and not in this short of an exercise, but you kind of start to hear Jeremy's voice, kind of like to see how he answers questions, and because as you write, you're gonna have to learn to adapt. I would say that's one of the toughest things of being a copywriter, is that you can't write like you. That's not your job. Your job is innately to write like somebody else, unless it's writing for yourself. That's obviously different. But most great copywriters, you have to be able to quickly adapt into different voices, different styles. vernacular, and all of that. So if you're writing for Jeremy or for me, it's very different writing. We talk and are very different. Even though a lot of concepts we teach might be similar, we don't teach them in the same way at all. So you know, that's going to have to be part of it. 50% of it is copy, it doesn't change. The other 50% is obviously going to roll to the next person.
Yeah.
Any final questions for Jeremy? So
Um,
we can let him go so his sales team over there hasn't erupted.
well, no,
Mayhem.
they're doing well over there.
You go over there, they're throwing footballs and hanging out.
Ringing bells. I think the one thing that might be useful to speak to that a couple of you have asked, and the latest one that mentioned it was Stuart in terms of the science behind it. So for example, on those 7 empires, one of the things that we talk about is mindfulness. And this is very science-based, very literature-based. You know, a lot of people, when they think of meditation, again, it's very easy to get off into kind of like, you know, the very heavy woo-woo side of personal development when they think meditation. There is an entire science in positive psychology and in neuroscience, and it is specific in the literature specifically in the literature called mindfulness. It's very much secular from any kind of influence other than what does it do neurobiologically to your brain and to your neural pathways to be able to think and operate in a specific way, and to have specific practices that support you in thinking that way. And so that way anyone can come into it and understand and apply a certain daily ritual in their day, a morning ritual. You know, it would, in relation to like escape, for example, it gets into the science behind why something like what Anik does on a morning and daily basis actually works so well, and why it's so necessary, and why every successful entrepreneur that you can imagine, that's one of the first things that they'll talk about is how I wake up. Well, why is that? Why is it important? What's it actually doing neurobiologically to you, and why is it impacting the results in your day? Why do you have more energy on those days that you wake up and you go through that practice? And then what's the most streamlined way to implement it in your life? So that's just one example out of those 7 empires. We kind of go into that level of depth within, again, overall health, your finances, your ability to function and operate and perform at a higher level on a daily basis. So, does that make sense, everybody?
All right, so let's do this. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Let's take 10 minutes. If you guys want to write up something real quick for this, otherwise we can always revisit this particular one in the morning tomorrow. But at least definitely go through the ones that you had done, the number 2, number 3, number 4, and apply some of the feedback I gave earlier. And if you have a little bit of time, then you can do the one for Breakthrough Mastery as well. But we're literally going to take only 10 minutes, so that way we can just talk for 20 minutes and then wrap up for the day. And then tomorrow what I want you guys to do is you can come here early, and at 9, we'll start by like 9:45 or 10. And tomorrow I'm going to go over ads. We're going to literally sit on Facebook, we're going to scroll, we're going to look at ads, we're going to write ads. It's going to be fun. All right, so 10 minutes, and I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
You're welcome.
What? No, I'm
Yes.
not going to do that until...
Yeah, I thought I heard your name and I was like, wait a minute, I know that name. Welcome, man. Yeah. Was that useful?
Yeah.
Makes it pretty clear. One thing too that actually, this is something Anik inspired as well, which is speaking to the fact that you have the DNA of success actually living in you, and kind of unleashing that a little bit. And that's one thing that I got from Anik in terms of how to, what to speak to in this course. You have the DNA of success living in you. How do we unleash that in the most effective way? And then speaking to what he had asked in terms of, okay, well, Tony Robbins, what program of Tony Robbins? He has business mastery, he has life mastery, all those other programs. I would health and wellness. There's like, specifics on, okay, here's the, level of nutrition you should be really eating to help your performance overall, help your energy levels. So, yeah, it's much more that. Stuart, are we good with Mike here?